Welcome back. All right, so it is American Thanksgiving still where I am. At the time you watch this, it might be the day after American Thanksgiving, but this, of course, is that magical day where we all look at the standings and go, hey, a lot of these teams are probably going to make it. Of course they are. I always find this a weird argument. Like, the good teams are good. They're going to make it. Some of these teams aren't, but most of them are. We're over a month. We're like 7 weeks into the season. Of course that's how it's going to work. So the most safe is clearly Colorado. 17-1-5 record, 39 points. I've added some figures on here. I don't want to just get all repetitive with this. Their points percentage of 848 is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Their goal differential of plus 44, equally ridiculous. They are on pace for, what, a plus 130 goals? I don't think they end up with a record that's that good, but, I mean, could they? And then, of course, they've won 10 in a row. So they're 10-0 in their last 10 games. They are safe. So if we're going to go ahead and say who's safe and who's not, I'll use the same green marker I used for the goal differential here. And we'll put a little check mark next to Colorado. And we can all agree that that was a crappy check mark. So I'll try it again. Colorado's safe. So Dallas, 24 games, 15-5-4 record, 34 points. 708 points percentage, which is second overall in the NHL, but it's overshadowed by Colorado. We discussed that in the live stream today. Plus 16 in terms of goal differential, so they scored 16 more goals than they've allowed. That's a strong number at this point in the season, and they're 8-1-1 in the last 10 games. Dallas is safe. So I'll go out on a limb and say Dallas is safe. And then things get a little bit murky at third, don't they? So Minnesota's had a great November. They had a bad October. 24 games, 13-7-4 record, 30 points. So they're 9 points back of Colorado. They play them tomorrow. They are 4 points back of Dallas. They have a 625 points percentage. They're plus 5 in goal differential, and they're 8-1-1 in their last 10, the same as Dallas. So in terms of who they would have to worry about, you have Utah here. They're 563. Chicago, their points percentage 543. Winnipeg's at 545. Winnipeg's really fallen off. We'll get to Winnipeg. So, to me, right now, Minnesota looks pretty safe as a playoff team. I mean, they're in terms of points, they're only 5 points ahead of that playoff line, but we're only 24 games into the season. I'll go out on a limb and say, yeah, they're safe. Which brings us to Anaheim. Anaheim leads the Pacific, 14-8-1, 29 points in 23 games, 630 points percentage, plus 10 goal differential. Impressive that their goal differential is plus 10, and they are 5-5 in their last 10. Anaheim, I'm a little more concerned with because this is that first year where they've been really in the playoff hunt in a long time. So Anaheim to me is in that maybe category. What do you want? Oh, the rabbit's asking for a cookie. The beep you guys hear at the start of the video has clearly now become a Pavlov's dog situation with my rabbit, where she hears it and knows she can get a treat if she comes over and stands on her hind feet. And of course, I just gave her one, so I'm encouraging that behavior. But yeah, for me, Anaheim would be, I'll say that over an 82-game schedule, I'm still 50-50 on how sustainable things are with Anaheim, because we've seen some setbacks here and there. But yeah, Anaheim's really done quite well. Vegas, 23 games, 10-5-8 record, 28 points, 609 points percentage, plus 2 goal differential. They're 3-2-5 in their last 10. Maybe it's my poor vision, but I still think Vegas is safe based on their experience. Now they've got Mark Stone back. They're going to get Aiden Hill back. Carter Hart's eventually going to come up and play for them too. I think Vegas is going to end up being pretty safe. I think they're already in that category now, although I acknowledge they're only 3 points ahead of the playoff line. Seattle, 11-6-6 record. So there's two ways to look at this. They've won 11 of 23 games, or they've only lost 6 in regulation of 23 games. 28 points overall, 609 points percentage, same as Vegas, but a -3 goal differential. So goal differentials are strange in that the teams that end up with a negative goal differential, they can end up below that playoff line. 5-3-2 record over their last 10 games. I think Seattle's playing well. I'm going to say 50-50 on Seattle as well. I'm going to say over an 82-game schedule, 50-50. And I think most Seattle fans would have taken that before the season started. LA, same record as Seattle, 6-2-2 in their last 10. They've also got a negative goal differential, -2. I don't know. With the Kings, it depends on the game. Sometimes I watch the Kings games and I'm like, they look good, they're dialed in, and other times it's just not there. The reliance on Corey Perry is is both entertaining and worrying, because I don't know if Corey Perry can keep that up over a full season. We know it's Kopitar's last season as well. I'm kind of feeling 50-50 on the Kings as well. I know that seems wishy-washy, doesn't it? But remember, usually 5 of the teams above that playoff line or somewhere in there won't make it. So I'll say 50-50 on LA. Utah, 12-9-3 record, 27 points in 24 games, 563 points percentage, plus 2 goal differential, 3-4-3 record in their last 10. One thing I want to do is, so Utah's got the number 2 wildcard spot. They do have the best points percentage, comparatively speaking, with any of the teams on this side. None of the teams on this side of the board, the teams below the playoff line, have a points percentage as good as Utah. So that's important, because in the East, things are a little more muddled when it gets to the points percentage side of things. But the West, I think Utah's got a pretty good chance of being in there. I don't know. Do I put them as 50-50 as well? You know what? I'm a little more bullish maybe on Utah. I'll say 75% chance they make it. I'll say 75 they make it, 25 they don't. Utah was the sexy pick to make it into the playoffs of teams in the West that missed. I think they probably still are. Chicago, 23 games, 10-8-5 record, 25 points. They're 5-3-2 in their last 10. They have a positive goal differential, +6. 543 points percentage. I don't think anybody wants to see them in the playoffs who is currently above the playoff line. I'll say 50-50 on Chicago making it. And I say that because if Chicago makes it into the playoffs, Spencer Knight's a good goaltender. Connor Bedard's really hit his stride. And nobody knows what this team's going to look like come playoff time. We don't know how well they could play. Maybe they bomb out in 4 games. Maybe they really hit. I think this would be a nightmare scenario for Colorado. If Colorado just, 130 points, ridiculous numbers, and Chicago squeaks into that number 2 wildcard spot, it would have that air of upset written on it. I'm not saying you necessarily get there, but I don't think teams want Chicago in that first round. San Jose, 24 games, 11-10-3, 25 points, 521 points percentage, -10 goal differential. They are 6-4 in their last 10. But I'm going to go the other way with San Jose. I don't think this is their year. I'll say 25% chance they make it, 75% chance they don't. I'm not giving him no chance, because that'd be crazy. I can't even Scott Steiner math my way into no chance. And so they have a chance. I better watch it. I'm going to end up slipping right into Steiner math. I'm too tired for this. Edmonton, 10-10-5 record, 25 points in 25 games, 500 points percentage. If you didn't see Michael Bublé talking to Don Taylor and Rick Dollywell, he did say that he's not overly panicked about the Canucks, but he feels like Oiler fans should be. And I'm not going to disagree with him. That -18 goal differential is ugly. 4-5-1 record over their last 10. And I have to say, right now, I'm kind of 25-75 on the Oilers. I don't know that they make it. And it'll be insane if the Oilers miss the playoffs, because then all bets are off about what McDavid might look to do at that point, and what would that do for Bowman's job. How far does this go before you make a change behind the bench? Like, you'd have complete chaos in Edmonton if they miss the playoffs. Winnipeg, 12-10, 24 points in 22 games, 545 points percentage. So their points percentage is the best of the teams below the playoff line. They're +7 in goal differential, but they're 3-7 in their last 10. I still think Winnipeg has a good chance of turning this around. I'm going to put them at 75-25. Honestly, I still think Winnipeg has a very good chance of making the playoffs. I don't know if they do anything in said playoffs, but I still think they have a good chance of making it. Vancouver, 10-12, 22 points in 24 games, 458 points percentage, -14 goal differential, 3-5-2 in their last 10. I do not view Vancouver as a playoff team. In fact, I don't see Vancouver as a playoff team. I don't think Seattle or St. Louis is either. 7-10-7, 21 points in 24 games, 438 points percentage, -25 goal differential. They've allowed 25 more goals and they've scored 3-2-5 in their last 10. At this point, they don't look like a playoff team. Calgary, similar story. 8-14-3 record, 19 points in 25 games, 380 points percentage, -18 goal differential, and 4-5-1 record in their last 10. Calgary is not going to be a team that's easy to defeat every night, but they're not really a playoff team. They do have a better goal differential than St. Louis, and they're not that far behind Vancouver. Nashville, 7-12-4 record, 18 points in 23 games, 391 points percentage, -26 goal differential, 2-6-2 in their last 10. Nashville's already open for business. In fact, rumor has it the Canucks and Nashville are the 2 teams in the West that are looking to make a deal. So that's how I see the West. So of the teams that are below the playoff line, I think Chicago and Winnipeg are the best bets for teams to move on to this side. Edmonton can get there, but they've got to be a heck of a lot better than they've been. And San Jose, I think it's just a matter of experience. I think they're going to get close. I think they're going to be playing games that are important into February, maybe early March. So moving over to the East, the Tampa Bay Lightning, 14-7-2 record, 30 points in 23 games, 652 points percentage, a plus 13 in goal differential, and 8-2 in their last 10. I think Tampa gets a check mark. No point in putting any kind of numbers on it because I think they make it. And then it gets murky right away. So you've got Ottawa, 23 games, 12-7-4, 28 points, 609 points percentage, plus 1 in goal differential, and 6-2-2 in their last 10. However, their points percentage is below Montreal's, who are below the playoff line. And it is below that of the Philadelphia Flyers, who are below the playoff line. So this is where I say, like, the East, it's a little bit murkier than the West. It's been that way all season. It is still that way. Ottawa, I'm going to give them 75-25. They're close. I don't see them necessarily backtracking. They're 6-2-2 in their last 10, but there is still that chance, right? Boston, 14-11, 28 points in 25 games, 560 points percentage, and their goal differential is an even, so it's 0. 6-4 in their last 10. What works against Boston is they've played more games than other teams, so their points percentage is below Montreal, Philadelphia, as well as Detroit, who are below the playoff line. We know Florida's going to get better. And so for Boston, even though they're currently in that playoff spot, I'm going to give them 25%. I still think Boston's probably going to end up on the outside looking in. If I'm wrong, I'll be very happy to be wrong. But 25-75 for me with Boston. I still think that once everybody's played the same amount of games, Boston's probably about this region of the board. New Jersey, 23 games, 15-7-1, 31 points, 674 points percentage. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They have a positive 3 in terms of goal differential. I'm going to give them a check mark, even though they're without Jack Hughes. I think they're more geared towards being without Jack Hughes this year than last year. Really made a big difference without him last year. Then you get to Carolina, 14-7-2, 30 points in 23 games, 652 points percentage, plus 11 goal differential, so that's pretty good. 5-3-2 in their last 10. And I'll give Carolina a check mark as well. Probably a bit of a weird looking one, so we'll try it again. When I was in school as a kid, because I'm left-handed, I did check marks backwards, and it drove people insane. Just that's your natural, is to check that way. So I have to go against my natural bent to want to do the check marks backwards. But when I've done check marks backwards on the channel, people notice right away. It's just because my natural, that is naturally how I want to do a check mark, and people go crazy. All right, Washington, 24 games, 13-9-2. Another useless fact from THG. 28 points in 24 games, 583 points percentage, plus 14 goal differential, 6-3-1 in their last 10. I'm going to give Washington a check mark. I think they make it. Where it's just weird because the Islanders, 13-9-2, same number of points, same number of games, 583 points percentage, plus 3 goal differential, 7-3 record in their last 10. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Islanders being able to maintain that. I think the Islanders is going to be a bit more of a challenge for them than for Washington, just going with my gut reaction here. Pittsburgh, 22 games, 11-6-5 record, 27 points, 614 points percentage, which is impressive, plus 8 in goal differential, but 3-4-3 over their last 10. There's been some signs that some of the bigger names that got off to really good starts have slowed down. I'm kind of 50-50 on Pittsburgh as to being a playoff team at this point in time. I think that once we get to, say, early January, we'll have a better idea for where Pittsburgh's at in the playoff race. Montreal, 22 games, 12-7-3, 27 points in 22 games, 614 points percentage, negative 3 goal differential, 3-4-3 in their last 10. I'm going to go 50-50 on Montreal. Yeah, I'm going to go 50-50. Philadelphia, 12-7-3, 27 points in 22 games, same as Montreal, 614 points percentage, of course. Plus 3 goal differential, 6-2-2 in their last 10. I'm kind of 50-50 on the Flyers, too. So that to me is the dogfight. And then there's Detroit. So Detroit, 24 games, 13-10-1 record, 27 points, 563 points percentage. They have a points percentage better than Boston, but Boston I'm giving a 25-75, in part because these other teams have a better record than them. 4-5-1 in the last 10 games for Detroit. It's a shaky picture. I'm going 25-75 with Detroit. I absolutely want to be wrong on this one. I want Detroit to go on a run. I want to see them in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Really want to see it. Columbus, 24 games, 11-9-4 record, 26 points, 542 points percentage, -8 goal differential, 4-2-4 in their last 10. I'll go 25-75 on Columbus. Don't like their odds necessarily, but I hope that I'm wrong on that one too. The problem is that I hope I'm wrong on a lot of teams, and you can't have 24 teams in the playoffs. So it does make things really interesting when there's so many teams that are so close to each other. The Rangers, 12-11-2, 26 points in 25 games, 520 points percentage, even goal differential, and 5-5 in their last 10. They're 1 point back. I'm not convinced, though. I'm going to go 25-75 with the Rangers as well. Which brings us to Florida. They're 12-10-1, 25 points in 23 games, 543 points percentage, an even goal differential of 0, 6-4 in their last 10. And I'm going to put a check mark next to Florida because they're going to make it. I would be shocked if the two-time defending Stanley Cup champions find themselves outside the playoffs come April. They've meandered along. Verhaeghe seems to be coming alive now. Bennett started getting points. Matthew Tkachuk skating. You can see that things are starting to come together for them. And we know close to playoff time, or once you're in playoff time, Barkov comes back. So I still think Florida gets there. And then there's Toronto. 10-10-3, 23 points in 23 games. Oh, I put 10-10-5 on the... Is it 10-10-5 or 10-10-3? Let me just take a quick look. I'm not going to throw my assistant under the bus if it's 10-10-5. No, it's 10-10-3. I was generous to Toronto today. I gave them 25 points. They have 23 in 23 games. But they're 3-5-2 in their last 10. They have a -7 goal differential, 500 points percentage. I've got to draw a line somewhere. Right now as things are constituted, I don't see Toronto as a playoff team. So I'm going to go ahead and put the straight line dash for Toronto. Buffalo, 9-10-4, 22 points in 23 games, 478 points percentage. -6 goal differential, 4-6 in their last 10. I don't see it for Buffalo either. So there's two teams in the East that I look at and say probably not playoffs. There's 4 teams in the West that I would say that with. And some 25-75s here, a couple here as well. It is interesting that we're this early in the season, and yet you can see that there is kind of a pecking order, especially out West. How many check marks did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4 in the West. Did I say, yep. In the East, 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually have 5 check marks because of Florida. I don't care where Florida is in the standings. They're still only 2 points back, and they're Florida. And they'll figure it out. My guess is when Matthew Tkachuk comes back, that's where they start figuring things out on the regular. They go on a winning streak, and then we forget all about the early season struggles. But we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. So if teams are going to fall out, I would say the ones in danger in the West, I think Anaheim, still being a young team, there's going to be stretches where they have struggles. Seattle, lacking that real true superstar player, might be part of it, and just the overall numbers not necessarily great. And if Edmonton turns things around, and I do expect Winnipeg to turn things around, and Chicago's going to be tough. And then I think Utah has a good chance of getting in. Whereas in the East, if it's a team that's going to fall out, I could see the Islanders, I could see Pittsburgh and Boston. So, because I know there's times where people are like, well, of course he's going to say this about this team because that's a team he doesn't like. I love Boston. I'd love to see them in the playoffs. I don't know that that's necessarily in the offing for them this year, but it's been fun to watch them so far, hasn't it? All right, let me know your thoughts. So if you have to pick 5 teams to drop out of the playoff race in the West or East, who do you pick? Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe in the event you may not have done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching. It is a pleasure to report on the NHL every day for all you fine people on the internet, and I look forward to doing it for as long as I can for the rest of my days. So there you go. Thanks again for your support. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.